of a douchebag with the guitar, so it's a bit serious, so you go for it. Alright. He is a snake in sheep's clothing, a monster with a Ryan Gosling face. Charming his victims with a voice reminding them of the high times in their life. A life of freedom and fun, he's the ecstasy at a rave. But instead of putting holes in your brain, he'll leave one in your heart. He looks like he's perfectly safe, but they don't realize he's the perfect mistake. Tear you apart physically, girls are crying for more. Remember, he's the ecstasy. Tear you apart mentally, girls are crying for less. Remember, he's the ecstasy. A siren attracting his potentials to a slow, painful grave. You hear his voice, but you don't know what to say. Singing shitty Maroon 5 covers to impress potential lovers. Fake rapping thinks he's Donald Glover. Whenever he speaks, he gets another. But instead of a bonfire full of freaks and geeks, it's a shit show full of broken hearts and bottles. Shatters dreams, talks sweet moves to the next freak. He makes sure his victims remember. Scented cologne, so every time they sleep, it's him they see. His essence is in the sheets. His greatest victim is the guitar. See, the way he plucks and touches her, he doesn't even treat her right. There's marks on his hands from the fights he has. Doesn't even bother to dress her up. Says he'll play her tune, but she ain't tuned right. She cries because she's abused, but the pain is what makes it better. Because it's ironic. The instrument's a warning of what a mistake he is. Only problem is he's a representation of what he really is, a male sea siren. You hear him, you want him. You see him, you want him. But you don't believe it about him. He seems to be pure. And when he looks from the podium that he plays and the strings that he's frayed, showcasing an innocent, bruised, battered victim to the people on the stage, they only seem to be more amazed. But even as he plays, it's a beautiful nightmare. He turns music into death, but his guitar into the reaper. And every time he sings, it's a beautiful contradiction. Because all he does is preach freedom, but all he does is want to imprison you. And he abuses music like he abuses his woman. And now you're sitting here wondering, what is beauty? Because beauty to him is a victim. But his victims, they never see. All they see is a man playing guitar strings. They've made two mistakes. First, he's a boy, and he's not playing, he's manipulating. Not just the strings, but their souls. And what's horrible is the cycle that he causes. Because what happens to those victims with the scar tissue, misusing more tissues, and they fall for someone else disrespectful as hell because the pain lets them remember what he was. Everyone else in the middle is caught up just as well. The guys trying to be better, the ones changing and trying to be nice, but you end up playing with all their lives. Not necessarily your fault, but here we all are turning more sheep into snakes, wondering what's the next mistake, crying and claiming, trying to win this race that we call life, and now it's terror in the weather because Heather, his first victim, is wondering too what'll happen to her life, and she's crying now, crying loud, cuts on her wrist, trying to remember that December with that snake, trying to reclaim a sense of herself and her boyfriend. Now look at him. Look out, he's going insane. His hair's gray. He's shouting. Now trying to figure himself out. Figuring why this could have messed up now. And there is a story. It should have been happy, but see, she carries too much with her. A burden too heavy, and all of this started with a simple siren. A guy with a guitar who put his victims on display. Just to move on to the next one.